My first letter today comes from Mrs. Orwell, who says, I am 32 years old, and when I recently visited my gynecologist, he informed me that I have polyps. He says that they should be surgically removed. I am absolutely terrified and haven't slept a wink. Could these be cancerous? Are they dangerous? I've never had any previous problems of this nature. Mrs. Orwell, let's deal with the most important issue first, and that is one of your peace of mind. It is absolutely dreadful and quite unnecessary that you had to go through this time of torment since you visited your gynecologist. Remember, your doctor is your friend. Never leave your doctor's consulting room before you are quite happy that he's explained adequately the cause for your problems and whether, for instance, in this case, the disease could be malignant or not. As far as the polyps themselves are concerned, polyps are outgrowths of usually normal tissue which grow out from the vagina or the mouth of the womb called the cervix. They can be on long stalks and can actually at times exit or be pushed through the cervix, as is shown in this picture over here. Most polyps are perfectly benign, they're harmless, but they can cause vaginal bleeding and they can cause vaginal discharges and therefore have to be removed surgically. I hope you now have the confidence and the courage to revisit your gynecologist and have them removed. Great. Now here's a letter that deals with a very serious issue, malaria. Mrs. Mngubani tells me that she and her family are planning a trip to Zimbabwe quite soon, and she believes that she should take medication for malaria. You're quite correct. Let me explain. Malaria is an infectious disease, one of the most common infectious diseases in Africa, and it's caused by the bite of an infected mosquito transmitting the malaria parasite into the host, which in this case is the human being. Malaria, unfortunately, can be fatal, and it's very, very important that it should be diagnosed early if one has contracted the disease. Nevertheless, today we can take preventative measures, effective preventative measures, to prevent malaria being propagated. Prevention starts with preventing yourself from being bitten in the first place. And then also, most importantly, take anti-malarial medication before you leave. In most parts of southern Africa, it is important to understand that the malaria parasite is now resistant to chloroquine, and therefore, unfortunately, we have to take two different medications at the same time. First, chloroquine, or nivaquine, is the mainstay of treatment. But because of the chloroquine resistance, we have to add another pill called Paludrine, and this has to be taken as well. Consult your doctor how to take them, because you need to carry on for at least 4 to 6 weeks after you return from the malaria area. Perhaps most importantly, when you come back from holiday, if you develop a fever, a headache, or flu-like symptoms within about 10 days after coming back, visit your doctor immediately. It's time for me to go once again. Please remember that if you'd like to write to me, address your letters to House Calls, P.O. Box 840, Randburg 2125. I've definitely caught spring fever. I'm going for a run and then a romantic dinner. Hi there. Welcome again to House Calls. I'm Dr. Matt Haus, and it's great to be with you. Spring is here. The buds are on the trees. The country is starting to look green. It's a time of renewal, a time where we steel ourselves for the end of the year, for the rush, for the frenetic party hopping before Christmas time. It's also a time when many people can't cope with the emotionalism of Christmas, can't cope with all the things they have to do before they wind up for their holidays. It's a time of stress and, unfortunately, a time of suicide. My first letter today comes from someone who definitely needs support and a lift at this time. Mrs. Vivian North writes that she's 48 years old and is going through the menopause. She writes, "I just don't feel myself anymore. After years of working hard in my husband's business, I'm now at home. My children are independent and leading their own lives. I feel unattractive and worthless." Does that ring a bell? "I have always looked after myself, and my husband tells me that I look wonderful for my years. I just don't feel as if it's true. I really am so depressed and just don't feel that I can cope." Mrs. North, it's sad that someone who's given so much to her family feels this way at this particular time of her life. Please believe me, many women at your age feel the same way. The causes are usually twofold. Firstly, the menopause itself results in a flux and a change in your hormone levels, and this can lead to this kind of depression. Secondly, as in your case, often at this time of your life, your lifestyle changes. Your children leave home. In your case, you left work and you don't work anymore, and the sense of worthlessness and helplessness and boredom will come into the picture. What I would suggest is the following: that you visit your doctor first and foremost, who will look at you, who will take a history, and he'll do one of two things. He will either advise you to start developing a new interest in life, perhaps a hobby, some social work, if you like, and perhaps even starting a small business. Alternatively, what he may do is put you onto medication, and this could be either hormone replacement therapy because of the menopause, or it could be some kind of antidepressant. Whatever you do, this is the time to do something for yourself. You've spent so much time in helping your family and your children, and this is really a time of opportunity. I wish you well, and I wish you, above all, a sense of worth and a sense of happiness. Before I leave you, be smart, be careful, be wise. I'd like to read you some wonderful words that Voltaire, the famous philosopher, wrote. "Each player must accept the cards life deals him or her. But once they are in hand, he or she alone must decide how to play the cards in order to win the game." Goodbye, till next time.